I'm happy to be here today to introduce you to the survey that many of you already know about the participatory practices in the management and conservation of World Heritage Cities, and to present to you some preliminary outcomes that I've analyzed. Yes, sorry. The survey doesn't stand. Yeah, the survey doesn't stand on itself, but it's part of a broader project that has been designed in two different phases. The first phase, indeed, sees the global online survey that was made available on the Congress website, and for everyone who wanted to register to the Congress to be filled in. Many of you maybe have already done it. And the video documentary of outcomes, we're working on some short videos presenting indeed the data that we have been collecting. And I'm going to show you throughout the whole presentation some examples of these short videos. The second phase of the project is allows us to go from a global dimension to a more local dimensions. And we're going to work with master students who are going to participate to our graduation studio. And they're going to work in the field in different cities, so are going to be our case studies, undertaking local surveys and interviews. Collecting this data and using them to organize activities tailor-made for specific local communities. And with those data, they're going to come back home and co-design tailor-made solutions for specific needs found in each city. For instance, it could be a contribution to local policies or to a new heritage management plan, and so on. Eventually, we're going to compare all these data coming from all the different case studies in order to learn from each other and think all together to new solutions for common problems. Here, as you can see, the project it aims at the implementation of international recommendations, as Richard has already introduced you to. They suggest the involvement of different kind of stakeholders throughout the whole management process. This is an example of the videos that we are working on. And this is the survey on the Congress website, and many of you have already seen. And these are some numbers and facts about the survey itself. It's made of 20 different questions in the three different official languages, and available also in 8 extra languages. And it was open to the public from the 1st of June, and we're going to close it in the end of November. So if you haven't filled it in already, you still have the chance to do so. All the participants who are going to fill it in completely are going to be included in a lottery for a tablet. Then we're going to do in December 2017. This is an overview of the results we have so far, the responses we have so far. We got 197 surveys, 78 of them are completed, so 40%. This shows interest in our research and the willingness to know more about the topic and work on it. From more than 40 countries, from all the regional secretariats and sectors of the Organization of World Heritage Cities. This video, I think the connection is not good. It's supposed to... Unfortunately, it doesn't work well in this map. I wanted to show you. Yes. Yes. Yes, please. Too bad. Well, we pre- no. Well, with this short videos, I wanted to present you all the cities that then so far have participated to the surveys. And well, now I would like to share with you some preliminary outcomes that we've been working on. I'm not going to present to you all the 20 questions because indeed it's a bit too long. I know it myself. But I divided it into sub-teams. On one end, I focus on participatory practices, and on the other, on community engagement. And I did this, why? Because during this Congress, we were all talking about community engagement practices, but in order to understand who are these communities and what's their role in heritage management, we need to contextualize the practices and the stakeholders in a broader, a broader spectrum. Indeed, private citizens and communities in general are not the only ones who take part in the management process, but also public stakeholders like politicians, policymakers, public officers. And that was the focus of my research. Today, though, with you, I'm going to share some data about communities. And for the focus of today, our first question is community engagement regulated in your city? And what we have found that there is a balance between the yes and no. What does it mean? That in many cities this already happens, so there are already policies, laws, norms, and plan that integrate community engagement and take them in considerations. But on the other hand, we can also notice that there could be more awareness of this topic concerning the regulatory system, and that in many other cases, there room for improvement and for integration. Our second question is, what are the strengths of community engagement practices? And this is our link to the exercise that we are all going to do today. I'm going to go through the options. Our question was, engaging with local communities allows communities to profit economically from heritage assets. It contributes to the sustainability of preservation and conservation practices and skills. Is a means to preserve heritage authenticity. It's ethical because heritage belongs to communities. And as you can see, the majority of the respondents agreed that all of these statements are very important and are worthy to be worked on. Our third focus for today is, what are the opportunities of community engagement practices? So in the future, heritage management in your city should engage stakeholders throughout the whole process, which means not only in identifying, for instance, heritage properties or values connected to it, but also in the decision-making process for prioritizing actions and policies or determining strategies, and also building partnerships. Or stakeholders with more active roles. And this means that they're not only consulted, informed, but they take a more active role in all these steps, managerial steps. And more and diverse stakeholders, it means that we don't only engage with citizens who live in the neighbors around the property, but we also look at tourists, for instance, or owners or even customers if there's economical activities. And as you can see, most of the respondents agreed that all these future perspectives are very important, and we assume they're willing to work toward these goals. So some key preliminary findings are, we repeat them, need for a more widespread awareness of community engagement regulations, need for integration of community engagement in policy. Community engagement is generally considered ethical and particularly important for training in conservation. And community engagement is a present and future priorities. And with this, I would like to thank you all for your attention and introduce Ana Pereira Roders, who is going to guide you through the exercise we're going to do together.
So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the exercise of the Mayor's Workshop. My name is Ana Pereira Roders, and my colleague
Eileen Orbash.
Yes, we will be playing with each other and leading you through the whole process of today. As you are mayors, you are very much used to political parties, and we are officially playing opposition to each other today. So we will help each other spice the arguments for and against certain activities, even though sometimes we in real life agree with each other. We will not do that today. We will completely disagree with each other to help you feed the discussion. And we already have heard from the previous speakers, our focus today is community and community engagement, and there are very different ways to engage community at all different levels. So we were really looking forward to have this discussion with you and to have you discuss with each other, just like we do with the community engagement in your cities, that we really try to put them together and let them share their experiences and knowledge, so that we can have a broader understanding of and contribute to the main aim, which is, of course, you have all these targets and ambitions to enroll communities, and we want to help you create your own roadmap to improve and to identify and assess the role of communities within your World Heritage cities. I'd just like to highlight, we already seen many international documents, but in particular to the operational guidelines, you really see it emphasize the importance of communities and capacity building, public awareness within the main objectives and duties of state parties, but also the local government managing World Heritage. So this will be our program for today. We have created a process where we start with you as an individual, reflecting on your city. So we will give you 5 minutes, and you have seen the form. It's in front of you in your table. And we would like you to reflect on your experience and the projects, the specific projects you took in your city to engage community, to really think about, okay, what was the strengths, and I'll show you later on exactly what we mean, but to really focus on your experience and be open to share. So we are very much more informal today and help to share and discuss on the second stage with the colleagues of your table. And then we would kindly request one of the members of the table to be the chairman and the spokesperson, and to make notes on those whiteboards. We can move them closer to you, so that later on you can present to the other tables, and it will take around 5 minutes maximum per table, so that we can really give time to everyone. And then we can have a broader and plenary discussion about your experiences and how do they relate to each other. And
I think it's important. I mean, the whole purpose is that you share with you first start to reflect on what you're doing well as well. It's not just about why aren't we doing something, but what are you doing well? How can others benefit from this? How can you make it better? As well as sharing with the table where you say, we're just not getting this to work, or we don't have time, or there could be all sorts of reasons, but there's an opportunity to gradually share that through this process with the whole room, and hopefully we all go away having learnt something and have something to take away. I mean, we're as interested in your answers as you are, of course, of each other's.
Yeah. I would also like to highlight that we are going to collect all these documents and then make available to you on a digital version, as well as of the results of the analysis, so that we can really try to find common trends among each other. But we will also, you can see here the SWOT already, the structure, strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats. So the idea is that when we are discussing later on, we can, as Eileen mentioned, really highlight what did work for you in your city, in your cities, what didn't work, so that we can also learn from each other and see if sometimes there are things that work for a certain city and do not work for other. Then the opportunities you gain with those specific projects that maybe you were foreseeing, maybe you weren't. And then as well the threats, so all the pitfalls and the obstacles that you faced when you engaged and you decided to undertake those projects. So we see that already this small exercise, of course, it can have a long-term gain, and we will keep you posted and inform you about what we find out on the long term. But for today already, having this experience, discussing with each other, you will be sharing practices, you will get feedback from the others on your own practices and how you perceive them, you will learn new practices from others, and then because we will all be assessing with the SWOT, you can distinguish what are positive and negative practices, opportunities and threats, as well as what seems to be common to all of you and in relationship to what is then irregular and uncommon in a certain way. So, and this is us. We have a team which was already presented, and we really look forward to help you go through this exercise and really have an active debate. So you can see here, and we were already presented. So I don't want to take more time from your exercise. I would just like to quote a very inspiring message, an African proverb that if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. And I think that's why you joined such a network. That's because we want to go far more than other cities. So thank you and good luck.
Just one.
Yes.
Can I ask you, when you're looking at your opportunities, your best practices, your strengths, think about not just the description of the process, but think about what was the key. What made it happen? Was it policy change? Was it a key project that everyone got engaged with? What turned things around? What was that little key that opened the door? And similarly, when you're looking at problems, what is the bottleneck? What little thing is stopping lots of other things happening? So again, rather than saying, oh, no one wants to be involved, or think, why aren't they wanting to be involved? What's that little thing that it might be a big thing to change, but that's what's stopping things happening. So again, in your reflections, think about those. You haven't got that much room on that piece of paper, so you can't write a whole essay. So really think about getting down to the point. And we really look forward to working with you now and going through that. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll just keep this in the screen, and we can now start our assignment. So you have about 5 minutes by yourself to write down about your projects or a particular project you have been involved, and to fill in the form. And we will help you as you go along.